Hey guys, happy Monday. Happy Motivation Monday. Yes, how are you? It is the brand new start of a week, a new you, a new direction, a new guide towards freedom. So, how are things? How was the weekend? How are you feeling? I feel amazing. I feel encouraged. I feel delighted to be here. And I just want to start off with some housekeeping. Thank you guys so much for all of your wonderful comments, for your wonderful support, for sharing the message, for showing up, for joining, for being navigators. I actually have received so many good vibes and positive feedback. So I just wanted to thank you. Continue to share, subscribe, and like the videos. And we'll continue to deliver great content that gets you going. Now, on to this message. If you can hear it in my voice, there's a little rasp. And so I've been drinking tea literally for the last 5 weeks, nothing but tea. I love tea, but there's also a process behind the tea. I love my tea and my water piping hot. Many people don't, but I'm Papa Bear when it comes to tea. It has to be insanely hot. That being said, the process that I go through with boiling my water often entails the steamer cap blowing off the whistle, because that's when I know it's truly reached its peak. And so I had a conversation this weekend, and it reminded me of that pot or that kettle of tea. And so the subject of today is, what's your boiling point? What's your set off for your steamer? What's your tip over? And by tip over, I simply mean, what gets you to the point where you're ready to give it all up? When you're ready to throw in the towel? When you're ready to let all of your efforts go by the wayside because you've had enough? Is it a person? Is it a thing? Is it yourself or an action that you have lacked to take? If it's a person, I say look at yourself first and ask why this person is allowed to get you to that point. Because oftentimes it may not be the person that's tipping you over, that's making your steamer go. It's you. You've reached a boiling point. You have so much built up anxiety, frustration, limitations, conversation, frustration, things that you have not been able to convey clearly have now started to boil over. Things that you want to say and you haven't been able to say have now started to boil over. And when it boils over, that's when everything comes out wrong, incorrectly, bad, evil even. It's because you haven't taken the time to make sure that your temperature is correct. You let your water steam out of control. That's not someone else, that's you. What gets you to that point? What makes you so hot that now you have to blow off all of this steam in an adverse way? If it's a thing, what actions have you taken to make sure that this thing doesn't spiral out of control? That this thing doesn't get you so worked up that your boiling point is now tipping over. You see, because we often do this. We do this a lot of times, right? But when we're pointing that finger, look at all of these fingers that are pointing back at myself. They're pointing back at you. Because you have to take inventory first of yourself before you can blame others, before you can say this person got me to this point. Look at yourself and the role in which you play. You are an actor in this film as well, you know. You're not an innocent bystander. So if something has gotten you to the point of tipping over, your boiling point, look at yourself and say, what change could I have made to stop or prevent this action from getting to the point it is today? That's the hard part. That's the part that we often fail to take action on, because you know why? It involves self-inventory. It involves self-checking. It involves you taking a look at you. That's the real work. And the real work may not always be the work that you want to put in. May not always be the work that you want to delve into, because it may hurt. It may be uncomfortable. It may be an awakening period in your life that you have not yet confronted and, quite frankly, are not ready to deal with. But I say to you, don't put it off anymore. Don't let your pot boil over. There's so many things that we can do. So many changes that we can make within self. So many goals that we can achieve if we just believe, if we just take the time to put those practices in place. If we take the time to communicate, if we take the time to listen, if we take the time to write these things down. Do you have a vision board? Do you have your top 5 goals written down clearly so that you can see them every day, so that you can not only conceptualize them, but you can visualize them, you can speak them, and you can write them out into fuller fruition? You can do this, not someone else. Your goals are your responsibility. And if you don't have them in front of you, how can you begin to take action on them? How can you begin to take the first step? How can you ensure that your tea is the right temperature? You have to. You have to take self-inventory. You have to stop. You have to do things differently, because oftentimes old approaches don't work. New approaches, new situations, new scenarios, new environments, that will all come into play with a new mindset. New businesses, new purchases of real estate. When you change your mind, you change your habits, you change your style, and your flow begins to increase. So I say, change your mindset today. Approach the situation differently. Approach the person differently. Approach the thing differently, because the power is within you. That's right. It's that simple oftentimes. Again, you have to be willing to put in the work to do it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid what's on the other side of that door. Open the door with full expectation. Be optimistic. Write your goals down. Visualize them. Create a vision board. Dream them. And then get up and start to go after them. If your housing situation is one that tips you over, then what can you do today to change that situation? Do you have the savings in place to make a move? Have you decided where you even want to move? Is your credit where you can make a move? If none of those things are in place, then I say, call me, because we need to get a plan of action in place for you. We need to identify those steps. We need to solidify what success looks like for you and then start to work towards those things. The power is always in you. You have to be willing to make the change. So when you make your cup of tea today, I want you to check your temperature first. I want you to check your temperature because I want you to know the right cup of tea that's going to be for you. And before your kettle starts to boil over, I want you to take inventory. I want you to know right before that whistle is about to blow, my water is hot enough. This is Nyosha from Navigation. I am wishing you a happy Motivation Monday. I am wishing you a happy week. I am saying, as Gandhi infamously says, be the change that you wish to see in the world, but be the change that you wish to see in you. I believe in you. Do you believe in you? Happy Motivation Monday, y'all.